everyone, Zero JD here with the XBLA Fans Channel. I'm here to give you a quick taste of Airheart Tales of Broken Wings. It's kind of a twin stick shooter kind of thing where you're you're playing as this girl at the beginning of the game. Your father takes you through a desert to like a city in the sky, and then kind of just disappears, and then you vow to follow his dream to find the SkyWhale, which apparently is in the highest levels of the atmosphere or in the atmosphere. So that means all the levels are going like straight up, or they're like there's these fairly small sections. You find like an airlift and then you go up, and it's essentially just find the airlift, clear pirates around it, go up, and so forth. At least that's what I've seen so far. I've gotten to about 5 or 6 levels. Well, that doesn't sound like a lot. The third or fourth level to the next one is guarded by a pirate blimp, which took me a while to kill because your main what you're mainly doing is collecting money so you can go to the shop to buy pieces for your ship. Before we start, I want to let you know, 2 weapons does not mean you're firing 2 weapons at the same time. That means you can have one type of weapon and then a different type of weapon, and you switch between them. But these are all the ships. I'm fairly sure because this one is just just maxed out. I don't know, and it's been kind of slow, in all honesty. I've gotten up to like, hey, the machine gun, because the thing about this is once you get up to a certain point, you can once you go up, you can hold down on the D-pad to return and kind of just fly back down and land. However, if you get damaged enough, and I'm assuming if you explode, or if you get damaged enough, you do an emergency landing, and if you don't land correctly, you lose your weapon. It's like, and it should. I'll actually forcibly do it at some point just to show you, and I'll switch to my other thing, and we'll go up there just to show that. But I've unlocked some pieces. But like, as you can see here, it says like, hey, I can have 2 weapons. No, you can have like a weapon and a secondary weapon. 2 weapons to me sounded like I was gonna have a gun on each wing and go be able to just tear stuff up. So the way this controls is the reticle is controlled with the right stick, and then the way you're pointing with the stick is the way you're turning. So I'm actually turning, like holding the stick to the right, down, left, and so on, and that's easy enough. You shoot, and then you actually have a harpoon, which you can kind of shoot out and grab stuff with. One thing you can do is you can kind of grab other vehicles and like kind of swing them around, which is kind of fun, but of course, you gotta, I'll just be a jerk, and like while you're doing that, you can kind of like do like, but you're kind of limited of how far you can kind of go. And while you're trying to aim and stuff like that, it gets cumbersome, and then I'll just kind of let him go, and they're angry at me because I did that, so we're gonna go to the next level. But that's what it's been so far. The areas aren't big at all, and your main mode of like getting money is kind of picking up fish and stuff. So I'm gonna grab him. As you can see in the top middle, I have my health, which is that little heart, and then the little water droplet is like, hey, this is how much you have worth of fish. You can also pick up like barrels of oil from stuff like that, and that gives you some money. But so far, everything feels like it's given like a crazy small amount of money. Once in a while, you'll see planes like this with like a little crate, and that you can destroy them to get a weapon, like a very there's some oil, a very time limited weapon. Come on, there it is. But there are some fish that, like, if you run over them, or they don't get money, but you get you're slowed down. The issue with that is good fish are outlined in white, bad fish are outlined in a very like light. Like, I don't know if anyone can tell the difference between these little jellyfish and these fish here. Those jellyfish are bad. Those other fish are good. The good fish are outlined in white, and the bad fish are kind of outlined in red. Very hard to see on this background. There is also you'll see these glowing trees once in a while that'll shoot out a little medical kit, which is really nice. I've actually had that medical kit spawn into a rock, so I couldn't get it, and I've died because of that. I've had apparently, and I didn't even know this until I watched the trailer, there are things that look like medical kits, like very much look like medical kits, but they're actually fish, and you harpoon them and take them down with you. The issue is that the thing that shows that they're different than a fish or a medical crate are these little fins, I guess, on them. It's very hard to see them. So, like, once again, you're flying into them and then just taking damage. And of course, as you saw there, a plane flew into me and I took damage. And that's happened before where I've had NPCs like just turn hard. Here we go. And see, to get that, I took damage. I've heard like that. Like we bump and then they kind of turn into the same direction. And I've had that happen like 5 times in a row. So we're gonna. But like I got to like an area where like a big blimp was guarding a door, and I didn't have enough health to kind of just tank it, because when you get in that little area, it's kind of like, hey, you have everything shooting at you. So I had to kind of attack the blimp, fly off, and kind of find those glowing trees. You skirt around the edges. But and then I'd get the glowing tree, and it would just shoot the medical crate into a wall, so I couldn't actually get it. So far, I found there's only certain fish that kind of flee faster than you can go. Like, there, got him. But yeah, if you crash land and don't land it, it suggests that if you land correctly, you can keep your stuff. It's like aim for this pad and stuff. The fish population, of course, is just essentially just to make sure you don't just sit and farm stuff. Get him. But I found it very slow to build up money and stuff like that. It's like, is that bad? I can't tell. Like, is it a fish? Yes, no? Oh, I guess it is. I guess it was bad. But once in a while, you'll just find these nice groups of fish. And then there'll be times where you'll be flying and then like those missiles will just rip your health apart. But let's keep going for a little bit. And then, like here, like I'm barely doing any damage. So we're going to return back. So I kind of want to avoid the rocks and stuff. There hasn't been any illusions or saying like made it feel like that I'll get to a point where I can start, hey, like start from level 5 now or some kind of thing. So it kind of feels like, hey, I'm gonna have to go from level 1 every single time. If that happens later on, they haven't kind of alluded to it yet, which was kind of a letdown and kind of annoying. There's a workbench where you can craft stuff. It does a kind of mastermind thing where it's like, here, let's take scrap metal, and then gunpowder. So you can see at the bottom, the first one, it says, hey, I got the first 2 right, but the third one's wrong. So let's get rid of that last one and put a pipe instead. Oh, okay, I've made metal foil, which I can then go over here and make stuff. And then they have stuff like these ammos and stuff, which I don't know what you do with, and because it never kind of explained the workbench and crafting kind of stuff like that. The only real tutorial you got is like, hey, fly around, hey, shoot, and hey, harpoon kind of thing, and that was about it. So let's go to the hangar. We'll change to put the little fish radar, because there's another thing that involves with very small stuff in this game. Change this chassis. Let's see, go to the shop. Let's get this assault gun and see if it does any better. But it feels like getting any progress in here at all is going to feel like it's just going to be a slog. Like as you saw when I was shooting before, it kind of affects your plane. But it's fun, but if you aim backwards, you can actually give yourself a little speed boost. Like, see, I'm kind of like, hold on, let me see like that. But if I shoot backwards, I get like a little fun little boost. But as you can see, around the corners, you now see moving around those little arrows. That's where it points to fish. It does the same thing for the uplift stations. However, it's a white icon on a white background, which is really, really hard to see. And I assume as you go higher, the fish become more rare and worth more money. But I was actually really excited because I saw like, hey, there was like airplane customization, and then these areas that kind of look like shoot 'em ups, but they were kind of open. But it's like these areas are fairly small. Here, I'll fly to the edge of one. Kind of go over here, and then we'll head right over this way. but it's the idea is to like when you hold down to go the return to your home base. It's kind of cute. Like I said, it's a really small area. It's kind of cute until you realize, well, am I gonna have to do that every single time? Is there like gonna be no checkpoints or anything like that? It's not really alluded to, and just getting up layers feels like a slog. Like the last area I was at, they were just filled with pirates and stuff like that, and it was like I couldn't get anywhere without just getting like hammered with bullets and stuff like that. So it essentially feels like a war of attrition just to move up levels, and I'm wondering if it's gonna get worse later on. But this is maybe about an hour and a half, but that's like the main chunk of that was just me trying to get past that first boss. But I like the idea of like, hey, come with me, you. And they kind of go like, yeah, just slamming them into stuff. But like, that's kind of the like, it feels like it was, this feels like it'd be a really good PC game where you could aim like really well with like the mouse and stuff like that. The thing you saw earlier with the police come swooping in, I've had it like the bullets will go off screen. So I've had it where I'll be shooting at like an enemy who kind of flies around, and then I have an NPC airplane fly in front of me and take like the entire round of shots, and I'm just like, oh. But this is like one of these usable weapons. If you get one of these, don't hit Y, because guess what? It's now gone. Like, oh, there's that one of those little fake health pack things, which is actually a fish. So if I actually grab him and then hit down, I can actually take him on home with me and get some money. He's worth 100 coins, which is not making it worth making a return trip. But that is essentially what this game has been so far. Also, when you get to here, it always gives you the option to go to main menu. Once in a while, for some reason, it'll highlight main menu. I've also had a strange issue in the menus where like it just did that like I'll hit down or up once and it'll skip like 2 or 3, like there it just did it. And it's not the controller. I have 2 controllers that I play with, and it's done it to both, like it just did there again. But it just feels like any progress is just gonna take forever. Like I can't believe like these are like 6,000. I don't want to farm the first 3 levels over and over and over again. Like I hope at some point there is like a checkpoint, like, hey, here's a speed station to go up 10 or go down 10 real fast or anything like that. But this is the plane I believe the police use. But this is Airheart, Tales of Broken Wings. It's out now. It's amusing. It just feels a little slow at points. The controls take a little getting used to, but they're not terrible. And it's, again, out now. I am ZeroJD. This is the XBLA fan channel. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.